Hi, it's Brad from Headbangers Podcast. We've got a really exciting interview for you today. It is one of the teutonic thrash metal bands, Sodom. We get to speak to the one and only Angelripper. It's a great conversation. We talk about how thrash was in the 80s compared to how it is today. Obviously, Sodom have got a release coming out, which is going to be a compilation of all of Sodom, all the best work. And we talk about war, obviously, because it's Sodom. And we talk about getting on bills and also just what the thrash bands today are doing well and what they aren't doing well, and the best piece of advice from Tom himself. We really hope that you enjoy the episode. If you're watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, really helps. And if you are watching or listening on a streaming service, give us a follow, give us a rating, because that's also very useful. And we hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome back to the Headbangers Podcast, where your host Nathan and Brad. Here today we're joined by Tom from Sodom. How are you doing, man, to start off with?
I'm fine. How are you?
We're doing good, Very good. It's a pleasure to have you on, by the way. Obviously, big fan of Sodom. It's nice to have a legend on here. So I want to start off with a little icebreaker. Obviously, you've been in the game a long time. What's your funniest tour story or gig story out of all your adventures on the road?
Okay. Can I repeat the question?
Yeah, so what's the funniest gig story or tour story out of your career? What stands out to you the most?
You want to know a story from about 40 years, or?
Yeah, so
it can be any, whichever one like sort of stands out, where it's like, you know, that was a funny time, that was something funny that happened during the tour.
Yeah, there was so much, you know, after 40 years, you know. You know, after 40 years, there were so many up and downs in the band history, you know. But for me personally, the best day was when I quit my job in a coal mine, and after that I could make my live from the music, you know. And I had a lot of trouble on a coal mine on the work because I want to spend more time with the band, touring and being studio jobs and all the stuff, you know. And then when Agent Orange came out in '89, you know, I got a little bit money from a record company every month. I could make my live just for the music and spend more time with the band, you know. And that was the best decision in my life, you know.
Definitely. But became one of the pivotal moments.
Yeah, but if you talk about shows, you know, I don't know how much shows I played in 40 years, you know. There were a couple of, you know, we've been the first band who played in Bulgaria and Sofia in '91. We were the first metal band in Mexico. We were the first and the only band played in Tasmania, Australia. You know, it's a lot of stuff happened there.
Oh yeah,
that's
definitely.
Super cool.
Definitely.
I was
what was
say,
it like when you left your job at the coal mines? Because obviously that must have been a big decision.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah. You know, my father was really disappointed when I quit the job there, you know, and he told me, okay, you get your money every month, you know, the job is safe, you know, if you make music, you don't know what is tomorrow, you know. And well, that was the best decision in my life, you know, and I'm still here, make my live from the music, you know, but, you know, it's a result of hardworking man, you know. I'm working every day to get the band, keep the band on forward, you know. And after all the years and decades, you know, I think Sodom is a big part of the international scene. We get a lot of offers for shows, you know, and we have a record contract. We can release an album whenever we want, you know, so it's perfect.
Yeah, it's truly an honor, to be fair. Like, obviously, Sodom's influenced so many bands. Like, you know, you guys were there from the start, like, you know, playing the heaviest kind of music. I want to ask, obviously, because Sodom was so influential on, like, genres in metal to come, like, you know, black metal, death metal. You always had the sort of edge that was not made particularly in, like, traditional thrash, but you managed to take it, like, you know, one step further. Like, do you look back and see that you influenced these bands? Or is it just like, you know, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I got a lot of response from fans, you know, that they're gonna told me that In the Son of Evil, Obsessed by Cruelty was a big impact to the black metal scene, especially in Scandinavia, you know. I know, but when we started the music, you know, we just talk about heavy metal, you know. There was no black or death metal, and we created an own style called witching metal, which was heavier than Venom and faster than Metallica in these times. You know? But I never mind, you know, I think Sodom is a band who never really changed, you know, and that is what the fans really appreciate, you know, when they listen to Sodom, you know. We never changed. Also in the 90s, a lot of bands tried to get more commercial, to sell more copies. A lot of bands get dictated by record companies and publishers, and we Sodom never, you know. We always did the music we want, and that is the secret behind the long career, you know. We never change, you know. We do the music that we like, you know, and the record company, they bring it out, they make the promotion, and we gotta do the music, you know. And there is no influence, you know. And that's the reason why Sodom is so heavy, even in the 90s when a lot of bands get more melodic, you know. Sodom released the heaviest albums in a career, you know. That is the secret, you know. We never change, you know. We are just metal fans making music for a while. That is a big difference from Sodom to all the other bands or the big rock stars, you know.
Oh yeah. So do you feel like that attitude of like making music that you guys wanted to hear and that you wanted was what pushed you all the way through the years?
Yes, I think the first Venom record, In the Sound, Welcome to Hell, you know, that was the biggest impact to my musical career, you know. When I started with Motorhead and AC/DC, all the other bands, but Venom, when the Venom album came out, I took the decision to form an own band, you know, make it in the same way, you know. But in '82, we never think about getting professional musicians, you know. We were just sitting in a rehearsal room, drinking some beers, making some noise, you know. That was not a real band, you know. But in '84, we got the first record deal with SPV Steamhammer, you know. From that day, everything changed, you know. We have to go to the studio, recording our music on a 24 multi-track recording tape, you know, and that was something new for us, you know. And we've been the first time in Berlin, so we got drunken all the nights, you know. And we never mind if we get a good production. So when we re-recorded the songs for the sampler, you know, we realized that a couple of songs were completely out of timing, out of tuning, you know. But when we recorded Sepulchral Wars or After the Deluge from Suspect, you know, we have to do it more accurate, you know, with a new drummer, but try to keep the magic of the original. That was very important, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I want to ask as well, like, obviously you've been going for so long, like you've made some killer records, like, you know, not just in the 80s, but you're still making amazing music now. How do you stay motivated and hungry after all this time to, like, you know, keep making these great thrash albums?
You know, we love what we do, you know. And when you look back to the latest release, Genesis 19 is a wonderful album, you know. And we are always creative, you know. The big difference that we're gonna write the songs in a rehearsal room, you know. We do a kind of jam session, starting with a guitar riff and doing everything in a rehearsal room with a band, you know. That for me personally, it's very important, you know. I know other bands where the drummer is living in America, the singer is living in England, whatever, you know, and they're gonna write songs by MP3 trading, you know. And we always everything started in a rehearsal room. We just drink a beer and start a jam session. And sometimes you come out, we have a brand new song, you know. That is very important that we get input from each members, you know, to get this perfect, you know.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think that method of writing songs is a lot easier, because I've personally tried both where it's like, oh, you know, someone will send over like a guitar track they've demoed out, and it's like, oh yeah, add this, add that. But it's not like an instant thing. Like you don't know whether or not it will work until they send back what you've just asked them to try. Like being together is a lot better. I think.
That's a band, you know. That's what I want, you know. Sometimes a guitar player sent me an MP3 or I have a new guitar riff and let's check it out in a rehearsal room and try to arrange a song from it, you know. And I know it's very old school, but it works, you know. And Sodom is a band. We are an old school band, you know. We want to write better songs. You know, it doesn't matter if it's black metal or death metal or thrash metal, whatever, you know. We just want to write a good song, you know. And I remember that people say, oh, on the latest release there are blast beats in it or some death metal influence, you know. Come on, we were the first band to start with all this stuff, you know. I was gonna say, we were the fastest band with Bombenhagel in these times, you know. So we can do a blast beat whenever we want, you know.
Did you feel like the heaviest band at the time? Like, you know, when the 80s, before like death metal came out, like were you like, yeah, we're the hottest shit right now, you know?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think Venom was the heaviest band, you know. And but we tried more fast. I know that people talk about Hellhammer was the heaviest band in the world, you know. Who is the heaviest band in the world, you know? But when we're gonna start write songs, you know, and we have a couple of songs for the next album written already, you know, and these songs are really, really heavy, you know. And I can promise you that the next Sodom album will be the heaviest in our career, you know. But it's that's another thing, you know. We always try to do as heavy as possible, but it's very important that you're gonna write chorus lines you never forget, you know. You listen once or twice and never forget, you know. And that is typical Sodom, doing heavy music but with good chorus lines. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I remember seeing you guys at Damnation 2017, and out of everyone that played, you guys and Bloodbath had the biggest sort of like impact on me. Definitely the most memorable performance, just because, like you said, the chorus lines as well stuck in my head, and I had to listen to them on Spotify, which I thought was, you know, like so interesting. That, you know, you go to a lot of shows and it's just constant brutal, like, you know, like brutal drumming or like heavy. You're like, this is great, but sometimes you go home and you go, oh, what was that fucking song? Whereas with you guys, I remembered every song on the set list, and I made sure I listened to it when I wanted to listen to it again after the festival.
I was in the pit for all of it.
Yeah, that's very important. You know, we had a couple of shows last week, you know, and so we changed the set list, you know. I think years before, you know, we were really scared to change the set list because people want to hear Agent Orange, you know. We have to put the classics, you know. And when we choose the songs for the sampler, for the new sampler, you know, I don't want to have all the hits, the classics in it, you know. There are so many songs on the albums, you know, which are completely underrated, never played live, you know, never played in a rehearsal room, and that helps us also putting the next set list together, you know. And Sodom, we want to change the set list from show to show, you know. And that is, in my opinion, very important. I think all the songs, there are so many good songs on each album, you know. And when we're doing the headlining shows 2 hours, we are able to change. We put this one in and this one out, you know. When we're gonna do a festival, a bigger festival with 45 minutes, we have to put let the classics like Agent Orange or Sodomia Lust inside the set list, you know. But it's very important, you know, because we love all the songs on each album, you know. There is no show without Agent Orange, never mind, you know. But we have so many other songs, you know, which really great and works live, you know.
Are you sick of playing Agent Orange after all this time? You get sick of playing songs.
Yeah, I think there is no show without Agent Orange. I can't remember it. And last month we played a song from Obsessed by Cruelty, Equinox. We put in a set list, you know, and the people like it, you know.
Yeah.
Why not, you know? Okay, when we have to relearn, you know, and when you listen to the older material, especially Obsessed by Cruelty stuff, you know, you have to realize what we're gonna do, you know, because it was out of time, it was out of tuning, you know. The Witch Hunter drumming was not perfect all the time, you know. But what's really funny to get more into this material, you know. We also played a couple of songs from the first and the second demo tape, you know. And we played Witching Metal. This is on a single in a box set, you know. In the original arrangement, you know, was really funny, you know.
Oh yeah, did you find like doing that sort of gave like a different edge to playing live? Was it like, hang on, we've had to relearn this, and it kind of brought back like almost nerves in a way, where it's like kind of gave you like, oh, this could go either way, but you was still it made you more excited to play in a way.
I'm so excited to play this, you know. But I know that other bands they change their own songs, you know, to get it more accurate, you know, and they change arrangements and all this stuff to make it easier, you know. So sometimes the older arrangements were really chaotic, you know. There was no special refrain, no pre-chorus, you know. The complete arrangement was chaotic, you know. But I think that is exactly what the old school Sodom fans like in the band, you know. The chaotic and the punk influence also in the music, you know. And but it's funny, you know, it's my history, you know, and my guitarist York and the drummer Tony are big Sodom fans, big metal fans, you know. we had a lot of fun recording this, you know.
Oh
Can
yeah.
you talk to us about like the new album then? So like I think I read that you said it has like an 80s vibe to it. Like what can people expect in this, like this new album?
I don't know. I think when we get an, you know, we are still at SPV and we get an option for the next album. Okay, we when we're gonna bring it out the next year, we have to go to studio in the summer, you know. But time is running so fast, you know. And I know that we have a lot of shows coming in after the Corona crisis, you know. And we'll see, you know. There is no pressure from outside, you know. If we get everything fixed and finished, we're gonna book a studio, and that's what my dream is. Booking a big professional studio and getting Harris Jones back on the panels, you know. Harris Jones was like a fourth band member in the 80s, you know. And I met him a couple of weeks ago, you know. We talk about a new Sodom song, new Sodom album, you know. And he said he would be really glad to produce the next Sodom album or making engineering or co-producing, whatever, you know. And that's my dream, getting the band for 3 or 4 weeks in the studio in Berlin, wherever it is, you know, and working on the new material, you know. You know, in my opinion, I need a better sound, you know. I think a lot of bands recording on a digital way with a computer, you know, and doing trigger signals on the drums, you know. I need a bigger sound, you know, because I'm a 80s old school fan, you know. And when you listen to Mötley Crüe or Kiss, you know, or Venom in the 80s, you know, they always have a big drum sound, you know. And that's what I want for Sodom, you know. I wanted the heaviest Sodom album with the best sound ever, you know. And that you can just do in a professional studio, you know. I know we have a span of time and we'll spend a lot of money for it, you know, but the next Sodom album, in my opinion, that has to be the best one ever, you know. I think the next one is always the best album, but then the next one, we want to give everything, you know.
Oh
Love
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. I think like on your point of like having that big sort of soundscape with, especially with the drums.
Yeah,
It's
the
so
guitars
important.
also. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's so important because I feel like it's something that has kind of been lost to time in terms of like mixing, because a lot of people just replace it with drum samples and it's like all that
Yeah.
work that drummer just did has been completely done. Like
It sounds like plastic, you know. And, no, a drum have to sound like a drum, you know. That's what I want, you know. And or guitarists are using Kemper amps, you know. It's a profiling amplification. I don't know, forget the name, you know. And no, that's not the way, you know. We have our Marshall amps, we have our Marshall cabinets of speakers, and we put a microphone. It's very old school, yeah. But there's this. I think there is this special magic between the speakers and the microphone that we try to catch, you know. And if you use digital Kemper amps or profiling amps, you know, it's gone, you know. It sounds like plastic, you know.
oh yeah, we've like we've spoken to like a few bands when it comes to their like studio time, and a lot of bands have going back to that old school like, you know, microphone to the actual cab, because a lot of people like that's the sound that makes it so great.
I think you get a bigger sound, you know. You get the guitars closer to the ears, you know. The drums are bigger, you know. If you have a special room for drum recording, it works, you know. And that's my dream, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I have to check it out with the record company if you get some prepaid for it, you know. And we'll check a studio, you know. You know, if you're listen to Agent Orange or Tapping the Vein, the sound is great, you know. That's there we have to come back to this sound quality.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. One thing I wanted to ask you as well, with like obviously being, you know, in the band for so long, you know, you've seen how like the industry behind music's also changed. Like, do you feel it's like being the biggest change to the industry over the years, compared to how it was to start off with?
I think we are right. The complete business changed, you know. And you know, there is a lot of young musicians or bands ask me what to do, you know. They get a record deal, they get a record contract, you know. Don't sign this shit, you know. Take a lawyer who going to check everything, you know. That's very important, you know. And the music scene is getting out of control because there are so many bands coming in, you know, every month, you know. I got the new Rock Art magazine, you know, today, you know.
Oh, nice.
I like the Motorhead special, you know. And if you see, there are hundreds of bands coming out, you know. The reviews, you know. who gonna buy all the shit, you know? Who gonna pay the price for it, you know? It's getting too much, you know? I think in the beginning, in the 82, there was just a handful of bands who did this music, you know? And all of these get a record contract, you know? We sign every contract we get, you know? It's really bad, you know? But nowadays, we have to really take care of it, you know? That you don't sign anything, and it's very hard but you know, Sodom is still a strong part in the scene, you know, and if we are able to write good songs, good albums, we'll be always there, you know. But if you're a younger band, you know, and it's very hard nowadays.
Oh yeah, I think that's why you see so many people get disheartened very early on, because like, oh, why isn't this happening? It's like, well, because of streaming, it's that accessible now. Like, you're competing like with like literally almost millions of other bands making the same sort of genre as you. You've got to find a way to stand out, and like I think that's why we're seeing like there's only like trickles of like people getting pushed through, because I think they've managed just to stick at it. Like the amount of friends that I know that have started bands that within like a year they've been like, yeah, I've quit, and it's just because it's that hard just to actually be able to push through.
Yeah, but you are right. You cannot make money nowadays with selling records. You know, we have to get our live shows. You know, that is where we make our money from. You know, but the streaming and all the Spotify. You know, I know that Sodom is on Spotify, Amazon. You know, that is not what I want. You know, that is no. You know, I need a project in my hand. You know, and we also have the new. I can show you. We also have a tape in the box set, you know.
Oh, I love that.
And all the shit is coming back, you know, and that is what I really like, you know. I really enjoy this, you know. And no, but if you're a young band, you know, never give up something, you know. Some bands, they want to give up the studio, school, you know, they want to quit the jobs, you know, just to make a rock star life, you know. It's important nowadays, you know.
What do you think about like the new wave of like thrash bands? You know, like you guys started it, and then there's bands still continuing now. Like, do you think there's any like notable ones that you've seen or you've played with that you think, yeah, these guys are pretty good?
I like it. I think that Sodom also have a big influence to the younger bands, you know.
Definitely.
And there is a band called Traitor in Germany, which I really like, you know. There is so many bands coming out, you know. It's getting out of control. I never have the time to listen to all the bands, or sometimes when we're gonna play on festivals, I take my time and looking some other bands, you know, some younger bands, you know. But you cannot repeat the time. You know, these bands try to make the same music, like Sodom Creator, Destruction. They get the same clothing, the same boots, you know, but you cannot keep the spirit, you know. That's so. If you form an own band, try to do something different, you know. Try to find a singer who is different, you know, and don't try to copy any other bands, you know.
Oh yeah, I think what's interesting is the amount of like genres being blurred at the moment. Where it's like, is it this, or is it this? It's like, I think that's what's interesting specifically now, where it's like there's so many people just throwing everything into one pot.
Yeah. Try to create an own style, you know. That is, we cannot start making music and we do thrash metal, we do black metal, we do death metal. What is the difference, you know? What is the big difference between it? Just do the music you like, you know, and try to do this without any dictation from outside, and know that there is no record company. We have to do a black metal album, doing this, doing that, you know. It don't works, you know. Just make music from the heart, you know, and then it works, you know, and you will have enough fans going to buy the stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely better than like just like, you know, copying other bands, like especially because, you know, you guys, you know, create Metallica, you know, even the death metal side, Cannibal Corpse and stuff. Like, you know, there's so many bands that will just sort of like want to copy your guys' style just because, you know, they think that's what they should do. But like I said, it's much easier to just do something that you want to do, just make your own style, because there's so many bands that like to copy.
Yeah, you cannot create something brand new, you know. You have to try to find a singer who is outstanding from all the others, you know. Some death metal band, the singer sounds in the same style, you know. That is, you know, my favorite bands were Venom, Motorhead, Tank, Raven, you know, with all outstanding singers and bass players also, you know. That is very important, you know. Yeah, the time really changed, you know. In the 80s, that was just a handful. We never think about getting professional musicians, you know. We just make the music to be, that was a kind of revolution. We were against everything, you know, teachers, parents, you know, establishment, politics, and all the stuff, you know. We just want to be with the band, have a good time, drinking some beers, you know.
Oh yeah, I feel there's like, when you look at those like early days where there was just a specific edge that all bands sort of had to them, and I think it was that they was very anti-establishment, but they also just wanted to have fun with it. Like they didn't take it massively. Like they're not like, oh, this is super serious. Like it was, you know, we just want to have fun. We want to make music that we like.
Yeah.
You know, like we just want to do this as a career, maybe, but we're still just gonna have fun with it.
Yeah, because in these times, you know, heavy metal was not popular, you know. And this kind of music, what we did, you know, was everybody hated us, you know. My father, my teachers, what you gonna do with just noise, you know. And I remember back in school, we were 30 people in a classroom, you know, and I was the only one with a Motorhead vest on it, you know. We were desperados in these times, you know.
Oh yeah.
And when we start our own music, we don't want to get successful with it, you know. We want to see the people that say Sodom is just noise, you know. And but if you get a record deal in '84, you know, the first time, you know, that the time changed, you know. You sign the contract and you have to go to studio, and you have to work more professional, you know. But Sodom, in all over the years, the decades, we never change, you know. We want to keep our contracts, you know. We have to record an album. We have to doing our shows, you know, but always with fun, you know. We always, you know, we are just metal fans making music for a while, you know. That is a big difference to all the other bands, maybe, you know.
Oh yeah, I agree. I want to go into like the lyrical themes. Obviously, it's a lot, you know, like you guys lean into making statements about war and you know, lean into heavy as a subject matter. What do you feel like it is that sort of like brings you towards that subject?
Yes, Sodom is an anti-war band, you know. We would, you know, I always, when I start writing lyrics, you know, I just describe the situations, how bad a war is, or how bad a war could be, you know. But it's not a big war, it's not a big politics I'm gonna write something about, you know. I write the war of the small man. If you're fighting in the Vietnam War, you know, man against man, you know, and all the situations, you know. And some people say, okay, nowadays you bring an album out like it's called 40 Years of War, the greatest hell of Sodom, you know. Why you choose this style, you know? Oh, come on, why not, you know? Sodom was never a political band, you know. And I just write down, you know, and you know, I don't have to write a newspaper article. I have to write lyrics for a song, you know. And yes, we changed these lyrics in Persecution Mania came out, you know, because in the beginning I was more in satanic lyrics, and I have a lot of books from Aleister Crowley and all this stuff, you know. And in '87 I changed the lyrics. I want to write about life, you know.
Yeah.
And war is a part of our life, in my opinion, you know.
It's timeless in a way as well. Like, you know, war's never going to go away. And it's something that, you know, there's like countless tales across the board from like, you know, thousands and thousands of years. And even in the current state that we're in now, you know, it's more relevant than ever. So I think it's like a good thing to write about. And I like how you do it about the man and not like the politicians, you know?
All the time when we write a new album, you know, there was a war growing, you know. There was when we wrote The Better of Death, there was a Yugoslavia war crisis, you know, and it's a part of our mankind, you know. And if there is no more war growing in this world, you know, I have to write about other things, you know. That is no, but there is no political opinion in the songs, you know. We just describe it, you know. It's like a Vietnam War movie, you know. And I remember the first movie I saw was back in '79. It was called Deer Hunter. It's Robert De Niro, a very famous Vietnam War movie, you know. And later came Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket, all the movies, you know, that inspired me writing songs, writing lyrics, you know. That inspired not me to have a political opinion about anything, you know. Who is a good guy, who's a bad guy in a war, you know. that is too easy, you know. Yeah, but we never change, you know. I'm gonna write lyrics about the real life, you know.
Oh yeah, I feel like as well, like what sort of on Brad's point, I like how it's from this perspective of the people, like, you know, like the people actually fighting it, and it's not gone for like the perspective of like politicians, because it's like at the end of the day, when there is a war, it's you know, that perspective that is going to be telling it, and not on it, and that perspective is going to be living it as well.
Yes, but you know, there is a war growing nowadays, you know, and I've started right. I have a couple of lyrics written down. Sometimes I wake up in the night, I got some ideas for writing lyrics, you know, and I write down a couple of lines, you know, also about the new war who's growing in Ukraine, you know. Yeah, but you know, it's hard to describe, you know, but it inspired me for writing good lyrics, you know. It inspired not me to have a political opinion about it. Some people say Sodom, they're fascists or they're Nazis. We got a lot of trouble playing on Steelfest, you know. We got a lot of trouble, a lot of shitstorm, you know. We are no Nazis, you know. We are just musicians and try to write good songs and good lyrics, you know.
Yeah, I think the annoying thing about that is like if someone makes a movie about like a Nazi Germany, or if someone makes like a war movie, like nobody really questions if that person that created it is, you know, a Nazi or something like that. But if it's like a musician, like whether it's Satanism, whether it's like any sort of topic that's covered, it's always like the first to get like the heat from the media or the heat from the people. It's like you just read the lyrics. It's not exactly what you think it is. I think people just so quick to judge sometimes without reading into it.
Yeah, we got a lot of trouble, you know. Sometimes we're supposed to play on a steel fest, which is in Finland, you know, and we booked the show, you know, and then I get some emails, you know. There were fascist band, you know, like Satanic War Master. I never heard about this band, you know. You know, we just signed a contract with a promoter. Also, Venom have to play there, and a couple of other German bands, you know. We get so much pressure from outside, so we canceled the show, you know. Because if we're gonna play on a steel fest, you know, we support the fascist bands there, you know. But I don't know all the bands, you know, who are gonna play there, you know. If you play some festivals there, you have hundreds of bands playing there, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have the time to check every band. Is it a fascist band or not, you know? That is a big problem nowadays, you know. I don't want to cancel a show, and that the Steelfest show would be the first one after the Corona crisis, you know. And we are so excited to get on a stage again, you know. And then we canceled the show because of the pressure, you know. There was a couple of magazines. They told me, if you're gonna play this festival, you'll never get into the magazine, you know. It was really hard, you know.
Oh yeah, I think
That's tough.
I think when it comes down to like that sort of situation as well, I think the backlash should be more on the promoter, because, you know, like you said, not every band's going to look at the bill and go, okay, and Google the band. You know, you just go, oh, you've been asked, and you're like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. Sounds fun. But you don't, you know, like, a lot of people aren't aware who else is playing. So
Yeah, it's not the duty of the
backlash
band,
should be
really.
more on the promoters.
But in the near future, and I never mind, I'm gonna play there, you know. It's not a fascist festival, you know, like okay, then they said we have the German national anthem in Bombenhagel, you know. You played in Germany with a band called Böse Onkels, which is the biggest band in Germany, you know. And I don't know, you know, we just make music, you know. We just want to have a good time, you know. We have no political message on the stage, you know. We just want to celebrate our music, you know, and being together with the fans, you know.
Yeah, it's like putting on a show, isn't it? Like, you know, it's just you're watching a show, you listen to music like it's an experience. It's not exactly reflects the views of the people.
Yes.
Just like the same with movie directing. They're like the people who make the movies, I doubt half the time believe what they're writing. They're just presenting an experience for someone to enjoy.
Yeah.
So,
and the people who know me all over the years, they know that I just want to make music, you know. And yeah, but it's a problem. It's getting bigger, you know. The people, oh, you cannot play it here, you cannot play there, you know. We want to play everywhere, you know. And but we booked a couple of shows for next year, you know. I think this Corona's gone, you know. We we can plan more touring, we can plan more festivals, more shows, you know. That's our job, you know. That's our profession, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What was it like, sort of coming back after COVID?
That was okay. We spent more time for writing the Genesis 19 album, you know, in this time. So that was the only positive. But coming back, you know, after so many, after 2 years nearly, you know, that was great, you know. That's what I want, you know. That's what I'm living for, you know. You know, I'm an old man, you know, but being on stage, I'm 20 years old, you know. It's wonderful. I don't want to miss this, you know.
You go from Tom to Angelripper.
But people are talking nowadays. They're talking the corona rates are rising, you know. They're going up, you know. Now again, you know. And in Germany, they are talking about wearing a mask in a metal concert, you know. Oh my God. I think this will never end. It's a nightmare, you know.
Oh yeah, I think like we finally accepted it's going to be with us, and it's going to be one of those things that, you know, you catch it, and I mean, like the UK, we've lifted a lot of, well, all of them, like everywhere else. I just think it's just something we've got to learn to live with.
I don't know, it's, you know. So yeah, it'll be good. You know, when this is coming, this problem is coming back, you know, and we couldn't make any shows, and we couldn't make this or couldn't make that, you know. You know, I get offers for making streaming concerts, you know, just making a show without audience, you know. That is not what I want, you know. That I want to be together with my fans, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember when, because I had the opportunity for, like, be able to finally release something in lockdown, and, you know, quite a few of the bandmates were like, oh yeah, why don't we do like a streaming?
No way. That is not what I learned, you know. That's not my job, you know. I cannot make a live concert without the audience, you know.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
That's what my opinion was on it as well. I did, for me, like, it was going to be the first ever live performance as well. So I've never been able to get on stage because I was quite new. I'm quite new at vocals. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want the first time I get on to be like with a computer screen in front of me being like, yeah, I'm hoping everyone's liking this.
I also get offers, you know. I don't know the English. It's in German called Autokino. You go by car, you know, and the band is on the stage, and you get the sound. It's coming from a radio, you know.
Oh, it's like drive-through.
Drive-in cinema, whatever, you know. No way, you know. I think there was a couple of bands did it, you know. Doro did it, and a couple of other bands. I don't want it, you know. That is not a real concert, you know. So I hope it's gone, you know, and we could looking forward, and we can, and they have to give us. We have to plan, you know, because if you start booking a tour, you know, you have to get prepaid, the bus driver, the bus and the crew and all the stuff, you know, and you're going to lose a lot of money if you can go on tour, you know. That's a big problem. Right. But we have in December we have a couple of shows in Germany. It's a small tour, you know, with 5 shows, you know, and for the next tour we have a lot of festivals planned, you know, and already booked, you know. I hope we can do this, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there any sort of plans to maybe come back to the UK at any point?
Please say, yeah.
There was a festival in the UK last year, but it was cancelled, it was postponed, you know, and then was cancelled. I don't know. We'll see, you know. It's coming at the time coming. We get a lot of offers coming in, you know, and we have to check. Yeah. We can do this one. We also want to go back to US America, you know, because we never played often US America, and people asking me, do you hate America? You never come, you know, and we played a Mexico Metal Fest last month, you know. It was great. It was also the Big Four with Creator, Destruction Tankard. There was Gravedigger, there was Hellhammer, a couple of other bands, you know. And a lot of people come from US America asking me, why you never come, you know. I said, I'm sitting at home, my bags are packed, you know. But if we go to US America, we need the paper sheets, you know, the visa, the working permission and all the stuff, you know. It costs a little bit money, you know, but if we don't have the paper sheets, we can go to US America, you know. And some promoters ask me, "Oh, you can go as tourist." No,
Yeah.
can you know if somebody you are Tom from Sodom, what you gonna do here, you know? And no. We need a serious promoter in America who's gonna help us over, and then we go, you know. And all the
That's
American,
right.
all the US bands touring in Germany, they get no problem for a US American band going to Europe or Germany, especially, you know. So we have a lot of plans, you know.
Yeah, no, certainly. So obviously we talked about Sodom, we talked about your music. So what's Tom when he's not being Angelripper? What do you do in your spare time as your hobbies and interests? What are your interests outside of Sodom and Thrash?
Yes.
What do you get to?
If you have more questions, do we have some more questions or?
Yeah, it's just the hobbies and interest, and then it's the wrap up question.
I have so many hobbies. You know. Yeah, but my greatest passion is hunting.
Oh, really?
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I've to be fair, I've always wanted to try hunting. It's really hard to get into it in the UK, but you know, I respect anyone that does, because it's, you know, you learn where your food's from. You learn a lot of respect from it.
Yeah, I did it since '92, I think.
How did you sort of get into it?
You know, I was always interested in outdoor wild game, you know, and forest and nature, you know. And I'm always interested in guns, you know. You have to if you go hunting, you know. And for the last 10 years, I have an own district where I can go. I try to go every week, you know, when I find enough time, you know. And that's what I need, you know. I need to relax when I come back from tour, you know. And it's great, you know. I like the food, you know. I like the meat, you know. It's the best that money can buy, you know. I think it's not just a killing, you know. You go 10 times, you know, and maybe you shoot one deer or one boar, you know. That is not the killing, you know. It's everything around hunting. Just being in the nature, just being outdoor life, you know. That's what I really enjoy all the time, you know.
Oh yeah, I think that's one thing that people get sort of some misconcepts on hunting. It's not that the hunter enjoys the killing part. It's the actual experience of being in the wilderness and actually like tracking the animal. And a lot of hunters have huge respect for animals. That's the thing. Yeah. Like it's because they know exactly what they're getting as well. Where they're like, I know how it happened. And if anything, it's in my opinion, it's sort of more humane than factory farming, because you know you've got that personal relationship with the animal, and it's not like the last moments are horrific. You know, they're not aware of what the last moments were. You know?
But I have a lot of discussions. You know, there's a lot of people who are, you know, Tom Warrior from Hellhammer, for example. You know, I met him a couple of months ago. You know, and I want to give him my hand. I want to talk to him a little bit. You know, I don't give you my hand. You're killing animals. Come on.
Wow.
Why? What's the problem? You know, somebody have to do it. You know, I don't want to discuss. You know, the population is growing up. You know, somebody have to shoot a couple of them. You know, to keep the population down. You know, it's very important. Somebody have to do it. You know, and okay, if you're a vegetarian, or I understand. You know, but if you buy this meat, you know, it's the best you can buy. You know. It's very healthy. It's very healthy if you eat some meat from deers or from boars, you know. I had a lot of discussion with all the people, you know, but I never mind, you know. I'm old enough. I know what I do, you know. And for me, it's the best time to relax, you know. And I refresh when I come back, you know. I get more power. I get stronger when I come back from hunting, you know. It's very hard to explain, you know, but it helps. It really helps me, you know.
Oh yeah, I think as well it's all down to sort of, I find a lot of people that are actively sort of against it, that, you know, they have obviously either they haven't gone, or it's sort of like it is a personal thing, and it's completely I completely get it. But I also grew up with my granddad, like really into it, so I feel like that's why I've gained that sort of respect for it, because I know that my granddad's not there because he's like, oh yeah, I want to kill this animal. He got a lot of respect for it. It's more like, he's like, no, this is, you know, it's healthy for you. I use every single bit of it. And it's just been there since I was a kid. So.
Yes. You know, if you're touring, I know a lot of musicians, they come back from tour, and sitting at home and don't know what to do, When I be on tour, I always coming back to at home, This is my home, this is my hometown, And it's not only, the music is a big part of my life, but it's not everything, It's just being a musician is not enough, I also collecting postcards. I'm doing this. I'm driving motorcycle. I have so many hobbies. I wish I had more money to get all the stuff. But no, I'm a musician from my heart. And it's the most important thing in my life. Also my family, my kiddies, and all the stuff. But I need also do other things. Which completely different from the music.
Oh yeah,
I
I
like
feel
how
like
you keep yourself busy. Yeah.
I feel like you need that to sort of
or spending more time with old friends, from school, going to the bar, drinking some beers, relaxing, and that's good for me to refresh for the next shows, for the next touring,
Oh yeah, I feel like you definitely need that, because I think like working constantly, it just takes so much. I know, especially with the long tours that you guys kind of go on. It must take a lot out of you.
Yes, I'm working every day with the music, I think to get this finished, the box set, which I have here, I spent so many time to get it fixed, there is also a book in it and a recording, all the stuff, I love to do this, but it's also a hard job, you're working 10 days and 10 hours a day to get all the stuff, It's not just the interviews I'm going to do when we have a new album out or a new release, It's everything around. You have to prepare the shows, the touring. You have to check your emails, When I've been on tour for a week and I'm coming back home, I have hundreds of emails, to work with it. And yeah, but it's funny, but I need some time for myself, Without music, I have sometimes I shut down my handy, my smartphone, when I listen on my high stand, waiting for animal hunting, doing this, doing that, that is very important for me.
Yeah, it's like the best way to sort of like get that escapism, because like even if you're close to like what you remotely think of as work, like you don't feel like you're ever taking a break. So you just got to kind of just get yourself out there, just do something that's the complete opposite to like what you usually do. And I think that's like the best way to keep healthy minds and keep motivated,
And sometimes I get ideas for new songs when I'm sitting there, because we hear nothing, just a bird singing around, Sometimes I get ideas for new lyrics or new songs, It inspired me very much,
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
I want to ask, so obviously we've got one more question for you. Like, what advice would you give to a younger band, and what advice would you give to yourself from your younger self, basically? So looking back.
Yes, I always in contact to younger bands, and I support them, When we start touring, I always try to get a local support band, and that's very important, And I always get in contact to them, always talking about being in the business, but what I'm going to tell them is never give up anything, If you're in school or studio or you have a job, don't quit it, It's really hard to get a rock star nowadays, And sometimes I get to talk to the parents from the kiddies, Yeah, my son, he want to be a guitar player in a band, He want to get a rock star, It's not so easy, You can't. You cannot plan a career before you started playing guitar, Even nowadays, when so many bands coming out every month,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's good advice, to be honest. Like, just do it for the fun. Don't think about the business side until you actually need it, because you got to be, making music and making albums first before that any of that comes. But yeah, thank you so much, Tom. It's been a really nice conversation and very insightful. I think people will learn a lot from this, but it's also inspiring to see, how motivated you keep yourself and that you're still like having as much fun now as you did back then. So yeah, it's been great, honestly.
Yeah, and don't forget the new album,
Oh, we won't, don't worry. We'll be listening.
This is the deal,
Yeah, we'll probably get it on vinyl.
That is my record company. told me you have to hold it in the camera. You know, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, I mean, me and Nathan are big vinyl fans, aren't
Yeah, so
I think
we'll
you
be
know.
definitely buying it on vinyl.
No, I know a lot of fans, you know, said, okay, when I want to listen to this song, I want to listen to the original one, you know, which I understand, you know. When I want to listen to more than Ace of Spades, I listen to the original one, you know, not the re-recording, you know. But everything in the box, you know, it's for me, you know, it's just a number. It's 40 years, you know. It's just a number, and we're looking forward for the next album. That is, in my opinion, more important, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's been absolutely great having you on. I've been a massive fan of Sodom for quite a few years now. Ever since I got the first chance to see you at 2017's Damnation. So yeah, this has been a great sort of interview for me.
Yes.
It's been something I've been really looking forward to. So yeah, I really appreciate having your time on this as well.
Yeah.
Yes, and hope to see you soon in UK next year.
Hopefully.
If there are
Yeah,
promoters, you know, with a booking agency, just take a call and we go. You know, no problem.
Absolutely.
All right, my friends.
Yeah, and if you're listening now, 40 Years at War, it's coming out soon, and obviously you've got a new album as well, so keep tuning for that. So yeah, thank you so much, Tom. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.